Hi again, Taurus Sisters. My name is Amy K. Gunther. Welcome back to the next video in the retreat set. If you just came upon this video and you have no idea what you're looking at, I'm going to just tell you real quick and I'm going to tell you some links. They are in the description below. You don't have to write them down. My name is Amy K. Gunther. I run a website called TaurusSisters.com. And back in May, I hosted a ladies retreat here in Michigan. There were about 125 women who came. And this is one of the talks that was done at that retreat. At TaurusSisters.com, if you've never heard of my website, I have a whole bunch of free stuff that you can download and print. I also have a magazine that's in print. I will mail this to your home. And it has our articles about Sabbath, feasts, biblically clean recipes, a whole bunch of goodness in here. So go get the magazine and all the free stuff. I also have for you a free download. It's called the Retreat Kit, and it goes right along with these videos. It's at TaurusSisters.com/2023 kit, and it has like how to watch these in order if you care, and information about the speakers, links to the worship songs we sang, links to the handouts. This video that you're about to watch, she had a handout. So you can download and print that handout if you want it. So go get that. And this video is from Heidi Cooper. She did one of the workshops there, and it's called The Spiritual Side of Planning. And you should visit sometime Heidi's website at TorahFamilyLiving.com. So I know you will be blessed by Heidi, and I will see you in the next one. Enjoy.
My name is Heidi Cooper. My husband and I have been married for 23 years this Shabbat. And we have 7 children, and we live on a farm. We were the one with, we're guessing, maybe 350 animals. Some of you have come to my table, and I think you guys think that I'm like some super planner, and I just want to clear this up right now. I have a planner because I wasn't a planner. Okay, that's where I'm coming from. I was not a planner, and I had a problem, and I needed to fix it. So I actually, when I was getting ready for today, I found my very first Torah Family Living Planner, so I had to bring it so you could see it. There it is. Yes, look at that mess. So this was born out of, I had a serious problem when we were, young, married, little tiny children. My husband would ask me to do, simple little things. Put this on the shopping list. Can you repair this sock? And even with the best of intentions, I would forget. And he would say, did you take care of this? And I go, no, I'm sorry, I forgot. But how many times do you say, I forgot, until he starts to think, you don't care enough to try to remember? Yeah. So I had to do something about it, and I started with a notebook. And this kind of was born out of that. In fact, my sister's here in the front row. I made this for me, and I showed it to family, and they're like, you need to sell that. So that's where it started. It was mine. And most of the stuff I make, I start because I need it. And then I just share. Okay, so this morning we're going to talk about the spiritual side of planning. Did you guys know planning is very spiritual? It is. It is. It's something that helps us to be much better Ezers. That's a word that's thrown around a lot at my house. The Ezer is the helpmeet in Genesis, and that's what we want to be really good at. Ezer Kenegdo is the Hebrew for helpmeet in Genesis, and I strongly encourage you all to learn more about that. It's going to help you. It's going to help you. E-Z-E-R, Ezer, and then Kenegdo is K-E-N-E-G-D-O. And I feel like I'm back at my kitchen table because my husband asked me to spell everything. Okay, my mother could not be with us today because she's very ill right now. But I wanted to include her, and we're going to talk about a prayer that she had hanging on the wall we're all familiar with. We're going to talk about the Serenity Prayer today. So I'm going to read it out loud, and what I found out when I looked it up to make sure I had it right is that it's actually much longer than the one we cross-stitch and put on a pillow. So I'm going to read the whole thing for you, and I'm going to kind of go off of that today. Okay, so the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace, taking as he did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right, if I surrender to his will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever and ever in the next. All right, if you have your Bibles, this is not on your handout because it occurred to me this week. This is like the most important verse for this, and it didn't put it down. It's Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. So the first part of the serenity prayer is, going to look at it so I don't mess it up. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Before we can talk about planning, we have to learn to rest in the fact that Yah is a better planner than we are. And we can set out all of our plans, but his plans are always better. So we're going to start there. We have to learn to live in faith, trusting that his plan is better than ours. How many of you get my email and get my monthly verse list? How many of you get that? Okay, if you don't, go ahead and go to my website and sign up. I have a free monthly verse printable every month, so you can copy scripture. I bring that up because the passage I'm going to read right now is one of my favorite, and I think it's popped up on the monthly verse list 3 or 4 times at this point. My mom says, you know, that one, that was in there 2 months ago. And I'm like, well, it's still good. It's still good. It's Matthew 6, verses 25 to 34. We all know it, but it's something that I find myself just mulling over a lot because it's that important. Therefore, I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow, nor reap, nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his span of life? And why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Therefore do not be anxious, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or what shall we wear? For the Gentiles seek after these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them all. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. So he knows what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't need to worry about it. I'm not saying we shouldn't plan because we're totally going to talk about that. But we have to start by trusting him that his plan is always better, and he knows what we need. He may not always give it to us as fast as we want him to, but he knows what we need. So that whole do not be anxious, we call that worry, right? And I heard someone say one time, worry is like a rocking chair. It gives us something to do, but it doesn't get us anywhere. And I have, in the last 3-4 years, because our life has been a whole lot different than it was before, I've learned a few tricks to keep the worry at bay, and I want to share them with you today. The first one actually comes right from the Serenity Prayer I accidentally discovered. I went, oh my goodness, this is something that I've been learning. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time. Jim Elliot said, wherever you are, be all there. That is a really, really good antidote for worry, okay? If you are living right now and you're 100% there, tomorrow tends to kind of just be put on a shelf, and it's not invading you like if we sit there in the rocking chair. I have found that the best cure for worry is to recognize the gift of this moment, because that's really all we were promised anyway, right? Is right now. So for me, I would then choose to completely enjoy laughing with my teenagers, for example. How many of you currently have teenagers? I love having teenagers. They are a blast. I have 4 right now. And they'll be sitting, at the kitchen table drinking coffee while we're discussing the Fourth Amendment and the biblical precedent for property rights, And we're drinking our coffee. And my oldest son, Isaac, he is 17. He's actually taller than me. And he is a funny guy, but he's really low-key about it. And we'll have these, we would call them a long-running joke, right? Well, he says, no, Mom, they're called bits. And so I try really hard to keep up with the bits, the current, what are we talking about? What's funny, so I can throw it in at just the right moment. Oh, yeah, Mom, you're so cool. For a while, he's like, no, Canada doesn't exist, Mom. You can't prove it to me. Canada does not exist. And I'm like, I've been there. No, Canada does not exist. And then I try to say it again, and he looks at me and he goes, no, Mom, that bit is dead. I'm trying to be the cool mom, but you got to keep up. So my point being, though, I'm going to just enjoy trying to catch up with the current bit with my teenagers. I'm not going to worry about what we're going to do about the next eye surgery he needs. We're just going to live right now, because I don't know what to do about some of those things. They're too big for me. I really don't know. So I'm going to live right here. Another moment that I'm going to choose to enjoy is my husband is a really good hugger. And he just takes you right in and he just lets me stay there. It's not like, oh, I hugged you. Okay. No, let's just stay there. And he was hugging me, we were getting ready to go, and he'd give me another one. And I was like, okay, I gotta go, and this has gotta last 3 days. And he says, no, it's gonna last about an hour. So when we have these special little things in our life, we need to I'm gonna just soak it all in. What does Anne of Green Gables say? We're just gonna drink in the blossoms. We're gonna soak up right now. We're gonna enjoy the gift of this moment. And it's gonna help you not to worry about the stuff that has to be dealt with later, okay? But sometimes, like when we're laying in bed at night and it's 3 a.m., it's hard to really relish that moment, and we're going to worry. We have to then take it to our Father and say, I'm grabbing onto it again and I need help. 1 Peter 5:7, casting all your cares on him because he cares for you. And what we have to do is we have to go and say, this is bothering me again, and I'm going to give it back to you, and I'm going to try to leave it there. I might take it back, but I'm going to bring it back and try to leave it at your feet again. And then what I like to do is say, thank you for taking care of this. I've tried to teach myself not to say, please take care of this. No, thank you, because I know you're going to take care of this, okay? It makes a big difference, I think, because then we're acknowledging he is going to take care of it. He is our God. He knows what we need, remember? We're more valuable than the flowers and the birds. And sometimes the bad stuff that we were trying not to worry about, sometimes it still happens, doesn't it? Sometimes we get thrown some walloping loopies, or whatever you want to call them, and just doozies. There's the word, some doozies. When those bad or unexpected things happen, I still have to take it one moment at a time. I can't... my same son, Isaac, he last year had 2 retinal detachments. And you what do? You just do the next thing. You just do the next thing. And so you just, okay, I'm going to handle this, and then I'm going to handle this. You don't try to go, oh my goodness, this is huge. We just take the next step. We live the next moment. And I got a verse for that. Philippians 4:13, you all know it, don't you? I can do all things through Yeshua who strengthens me. We do it one moment at a time, and we know he's going to give us the strength to do the next moment, to have the peace we need, to have the wisdom we need to make a good decision, to have the foresight or whatever we need for the situation we're in. He's going to give it to us. But don't try to do it all at once. One moment at a time, okay? Just one moment, one step. Okay, so we're going to trust him. We're going to acknowledge he is a way better planner than we are. But we still need to plan, don't we? Okay, so the next part of the prayer The serenity prayer is courage to change the things I can. That's our job. That's our job. We have to do things. We have to be good managers of our home. And it's not have to, really. I correct myself there. It's get to. It's a great job. It's an exciting job. And it's one we can really we can take a hold of and be creative and be ourselves and make it our own. Planning is very biblical. So I'm going to show you a few that shows it's a good thing to plan. And again, for those of you who just came in, I was not always a good planner, and I wouldn't say I'm even a great planner now, but it's a tool that helps me to rise to the challenge of what I need to do, okay? All right, so we're going to go to Luke chapter 14. For which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king, going out to encounter another king in war, will not sit down first and deliberate whether he is able, with 10,000, to meet with him who comes against him with 20,000? And if not, while the other is yet a great way off, he sends a delegation and asks for terms of peace. We need to plan. My husband had this great idea. I'm really looking forward to it. He wants to build a hatchery for us, an entire building devoted to little baby birds. So we're planning it. We're figuring it all out. And I said, at first we were like, oh, we'll lay them out on the floor and we'll have little gates and all this and we'll have the lights hanging. And then I was watching YouTube videos and I said, no, we've got to put shelves and we can have 4 layers of baby birds. We can fit 400 birds in there. We're like, yeah, that's how we need to do it. So it's definitely a good idea to, when you're looking to do something, you want to lay out a plan. You want to know where you're going. You want to know if you can finish it. Okay? Those are what I call long-term planning. We're going to talk about short-term and long-term planning. That's definitely long-term planning. A hatchery is not put up in a day. It'd probably take a year, but... Okay, Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. And that verse, I think, can mean a lot of things, but today we're going to say we need to see where we're going. We need to have a plan. We need to have an idea of what we want to accomplish. That's our vision. So we want to take some time and really think about, what do we want our home life to look like? What do we want our school day to look like? What do I want my marriage to be like? We need to think about these things and have a vision for where we're going so that we can actually then take some time to plan it out, okay? What I wanted to start with, my big life mission. You see where it says that down at the bottom? I tend to, in stores, I open all the planners. And I like to listen to time management things, and because it's kind of my job to, be up on all of that stuff so I can share it with all of you. And I was listening to a guy, he had, I guess, run into some really old man who was like sharing his like life wisdom with him. And he had one big life mission, and then he would have 3 big goals for the year, okay? And when he would lay out his week, everything got filtered through those. And if it was helping him move forward on those goals, then it made it on the list. And if it didn't, it went into what he called the devil's vortex. Because it was just a distraction. So it was like, well, pitch that. So he would sort it to make sure, am I actually moving towards my vision, towards what I want to accomplish? Okay? So I'm gonna be a little vulnerable here, and I'm gonna read you mine. Okay? Because I'm going to encourage you, I don't think you're going to be able to do it right now because this takes some time to think through. But I want you to take the time to fill in these and have a life mission and think of some 3 big goals for this year. Think about where you're at in your current season in life, okay? So I'm going to read you mine, and it took me several days and a lot of prayer. My husband helped me tweak it a bit. But my big life mission, I am using my God-given gifts to build a family and homestead my children will want to come home to. I am a gentle leader, helping others to live a Bible-centered, purposeful life. So that's my big, okay? And I want to encourage all of you to take some time and write that. for you, what's right for you, because we're all different, we're all unique, we all have different gifts. And Yah has something he wants you to do. So make sure you keep it kind of open-ended, because he moves us, and different seasons of our life take us in different directions. And then I have 3 goals that are current for my season in life right now, okay? So my first one, goal number 1, is to meet the spiritual needs of my customers through education, support, etc. So as I'm doing whatever I'm doing in my businesses, I have a few, I want to respond to an email in a way that's building them up. I want to create a product that I know is going to help them to have a better relationship with Yah. So any projects that I take on in my business is like, does it meet that goal? Okay, so that's a way that you're sorting. Okay, when you have an idea, because I have a lot of them. It's like some get shelved because it's not really where I want to go. Okay, my second one, level up. We have video games in our house, so level up is the appropriate term here. Level up as the spiritual guide of my home. That's another part of being an Ezer. A lot of the spiritual atmosphere of the home is on us, okay? The men have their job, and it's important, but the atmosphere and all of that's on me, okay? My husband will say, yeah, if I come out kind of, it's going to affect everybody else. And right now, my kids tease me. They say, I only have about 3 faces, and you've probably seen them all already, so we're just going to go on repeat now, because that's it. It's 3 faces. Every now and then I try to come up with another one, and it just ends up really weird. Okay, goal number 2, let me finish that. Level up as the spiritual guide of my home. And I wrote ideas, reading aloud, building connection, more purposeful Bible study, whatever it might be. Anything that's going to help me build connection. So if I'm looking at what I want to take on for the week, is that in there? And if it's not, it should be. Okay? And if it's purposely taking me away from building connection with them, maybe it needs to go. Maybe it's not as important as I thought it was. Okay? And then number 3, and this is a fun one, add more elements to our homestead to provide more of our physical needs, such as berries, fish, more meat. Our pool is now an aquarium. Yes, there are fish swimming around in our pool. I love it. So again, take some time. This is a prayerful, kind of thoughtful thing I want you to do. Before you try to plan out your week, you need to know where you're going. You need to have that vision. Because if you don't have that vision, you can plan meals till kingdom come. It's not getting you anywhere. It's just, okay, well, you fed yourself, but we want to be a little bit more than hunters and gatherers. We want to be moving forward and doing what Yah wants us to do, okay? Okay, so those are mine. I want to actually give you I promised I'd give you the nitty-gritty stuff. So now that we know why we plan because we want to be purposefully, intentionally moving forward in our relationship with Yah, in building our homes. And it's going to look a little different for all of us. That's why you write it down. But that's where we want to go, and we want to be intentional about it. On the front of every single one of my planners, it says, if you want to keep Torah, you have to plan for it. If you don't, it's going to be Feast of Trumpets, and you're going to be like, what do we do for that? We don't want to do that, because that's me. I'm not a party planner. I actually have gotten to the point where we have twinkle lights hanging between the kitchen and the living room, and I put like autumn leaves on it, and they stay there till about February, and then I kind of switch them out, and we're trying. We're getting somewhere. But we need to think ahead. We need to plan for these things. The planner's going to help you do that. Okay, so what I want to do first is just give you a little tour, and I don't care what planner you use. I want you to use mine. But I want you to be intentional with how you use your time. Okay. Oh, I wanted to ask. I didn't write it down, so I wanted to ask how many of you actually currently have some sort of planner, and I am going to reluctantly include your phone in that. Very reluctantly. Oh, more hands just went up. Come on, guys. Okay, how many of you are one of those people I've talked to this week that says, well, I'm not a planner, that would never work for me, but you're curious? How many of you are there? Thank you for coming. I'm really proud of you because I've been there and there's hope. In the front of my planner, because I want to show you mine, but I want to show you some cool things that need to be part of your day. It starts with the Amidah prayers. It's got the Shema. It's got, what's this one? That was the Shema. That was the priest's blessing. Did any of you see my YouTube video on this planner? Have any of you seen the video I put up on this? Did you guys see my little mess up that I did? I opened the planner and I'm doing the video, and this one is fixed. But I opened it up and I says, and here's the priestly blessing. And I look over at the cover and I go, and there's the priestly blessing again. Don't know how I managed that. We need to plan onto our day the spiritual things. Do you know you need to plan for that? You can't just let it happen. You do. So that's in the front. There's a place for prayer requests, all that good stuff. Okay. Oh, I told you guys at my table I would show you right here on my family's vision and all these goal pages in the front. That's where I put my life mission and my goals. So they're right here so I can see them all the time. Okay. So you want to put those where you can see them all the time. So in the monthly section, I want to show you some cool things that help us as Torah keepers. Number one, we're ladies, and that means that we have to deal with the Nida cycle, right? So how I do it, which is very discreet, I just put 7 little circles. Can you see those? I put 7 little circles on the days so that I know what's happening. It's a real easy way to track it, so you know where you're at. You know that you're keeping the Nida laws, however you do it. Okay. I also, after, what did we figure, 16 years? I also still pull out my planner every Shabbat to figure out what Torah portion we're on. Every Shabbat, we always read the Torah together as a family after lunch on Shabbat. And after, I always go to my planner and I go, okay, where are we at? It's there. It's not in my head. It's there. So I always check it. In fact, was it last week? I looked at it and I went, okay, let me see where we're at. I says, okay, Leviticus 25. Wait a minute. I think I messed up. I read that to you guys last week. Yeah, we mess up sometimes. It's okay. So no matter what planner you're using, I highly recommend that you save the monthly pages for the stuff that's hard and fast. For the stuff that's like appointments or I have to be here, okay? There's little boxes, and that's just for the stuff that I've got to be here, I've got to do this, okay? When you get to the weekly pages, now we can get all detailed and lay out everything we're supposed to be doing, okay? That's how I do it, and I think it makes a lot of sense to keep them separate. So what I do is the weekly, I don't even touch it until like Friday afternoon or Sunday morning, okay? And what I do is then I lay out all the appointments first, and then you actually can be realistic going, well, if I am shopping Wednesday morning, I'm not going to be doing other things, so I need to be realistic with my time on Wednesday because half of the day is gone, okay? And yeah, there's just a lot of crazy on here. It's a lot of just to-do list stuff, and that's fine. It's whatever you need it to be to remember the things, because our brains are not designed as a storage device. Did you guys know that? Our brains are designed to be creative and dream and think and break down problems. They're not designed to remember the shopping list. Write it down. Get it out of your head and on paper. It's very important. Okay, Sunday in April. Prepare brooder. May subscriptions. Order mugs. logo sample. That must have been for a customer. Journal interior wipes. We use family cloth, so I had to remind myself I needed to do that. More printing. That has been my life for like 6 months. More printing. And roast beans. So mine is a lot of days. It's just the specific things that I need to do right now. All those things that my husband told me, can you do this? He literally, is it in the planner? Isn't it? Because he knows once it lands in here, there's about a 87% chance that now it's going to happen. Like, I feel really bad. I feel really bad. This is April, and there's something on here that he asked me to do, and it's not done yet. I'm not perfect. But like I said, there's an 87, maybe 88% chance that it's actually going to happen now. Now, I will also say, do you guys see this? Do you guys see the stickers at the bottom? I do reward myself if I actually get it all done and I put a sticker on the page. You can do that. Moms can have rewards too. Like when I am done speaking today and my sister says I did a good job, she's going to give me chocolate. Yeah, we can do that. Moms can be rewarded too. And a sticker works, right? Sticker's pretty cool. It makes it look pretty. Another thing I have found very helpful is to actually have a master to-do list. And I keep that in a composition notebook, actually. We have like a homestead journal with all the stuff that we want to do on our homestead. But I can't show it to you because my husband insisted that he get it this week so that he would have some clue what to do all week. Because the poor guy, he has a wife with a planner, so he no longer knows what he's supposed to do. So he's like, what's on my list for today?
Is the master list like a daily chores?
No, a master list is all the weird stuff. For example, like that prepare brooder, or we're going to do meat chickens, or we need to repaint the exterior doors, all the weird stuff. I'm going to show you how to handle more of the daily stuff in a minute, but once you've got that to-do list and you kind of know what you're shooting for, you want to actually schedule when you're going to do those things. For example, that doing the whole brooder thing was on the master to-do list, but as I'm looking at my week, I'm going, Sunday's a good day. So it goes on the weekly. I have set aside a time. That's when I'm going to do the brooder. Okay? So whatever it is in your life, obviously mine is going to be all farm stuff, but so you start with, okay, I know I need to do this, but then you have to actually schedule it, just like you would schedule a dentist appointment. And then do your darndest to stick to it. Okay? Because that helps you to actually get it done, because our brain works that way. If it's scheduled, we're more likely to actually show up to do it. Okay? As far as your daily stuff, there's 2 ways I want you to approach that. Number 1 is we're going to be like Charlotte Mason, and we're going to develop some habits. Because we should not still have to be reminded every single day to brush our teeth, right? We have a habit. We just know when I'm going to go to bed, I'm going to brush my teeth, right? So we should not hopefully have to write down to take out the trash anymore. We want to have habits. So if you still are working on, like maybe you're adding new things that need to be taken care of, or you're still trying to keep track, or you want to put a check mark, because how many of you write something on your list after you've done it so you can cross it off? Yes, we do that. But if you want to be able to put the check mark, there's a page in there. It's this one right here, okay? This is in the home section. This is one of the extra sections, but this is the chore section. This is the whole month. Up here is all your daily stuff, okay? And every day you get to put a cute little check mark. Down here is stuff that only needs to be done once a week. You can put your little check mark. And over here, there's 4 weeks spread out, like, okay, I'm going to wash my sheets somewhere around the 15th, okay? You can keep track of a whole month. So if you want to be able to put your little check marks, we want to develop habits, first of all, but it's also really satisfying to put the check marks. This works really well for that, okay? So that helps you to keep track of care for chickens, yeah. Scripture copy work, it's on my to-do list. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Sweep kitchen, wipes, school. empty the trash, okay? That kind of stuff. That's what you can put there. But I'm glad I saw the scripture copy where we need to schedule that, okay? And the best way I know to do that is to connect it to something that is going to happen. And for most of you here, not looking at you, coffee is that thing, am I right? Yes, coffee happens every morning without fail. It does not get forgotten. So that's when I bring my planner. And yes, I do have mine right here too. I tucked mine in the back. There's my May verses and all my copying. I do that. I bring it to the table with my Bible every morning while my husband's making the coffee. I can copy my verses, okay? So if you nail it down to something that is going to happen, it's going to happen, okay? Because I'm not going to miss my coffee. Am I right, Leslie? I'm not going to forget my coffee. So then this is going to happen too, okay? And I just, for most days, just so you know, I just copy it. I don't always get really deep in and study it. I just take the discipline to copy it, to focus on it for just a few minutes before I get into my day, okay? So that's something you really want to do, is make sure that in particular is scheduled, that there's a time for that. For those of you who are like, planning is not going to work for me, I'm going to give you a little hint. If it's pretty and beautiful and enjoyable, it's a whole lot easier to keep up with, am I right? Now, I will admit, I'm going to show you here. I do use composition notebooks. This is my notes for today because I really wanted to be able to just scribble it all out. But when I'm planning, I want it to be beautiful. And I want to open my planner to write stuff in it. But I also don't want to spend 3 weeks putting stickers and artwork before I decide to write down that I need to buy a hamburger. No, it's already pretty. All you need to do is just scribble it up. But it's pretty, so you want to use it. How many of you like pretty? That's one of my little tricks. You're like, why is this so? Because you want to be able to, you want to open it, so you actually use it, okay? Because if you want to develop habits, if it's not something you're looking forward to, it's not going to happen. It's going to be a lot harder. Okay, one of the things I wanted to make sure I have time for, and I can actually see the clock, thankfully, so I'm trying to keep moving here, is as we're planning to take care of all the things we have to do, we need to make sure everybody's fed. We need to make sure our children do their math. We need to make sure the bills are paid. All the things that we need to do, that planner's going to help you, but I also want you to make sure that you allow plenty of time for Mary time. You know what I mean by Mary time? We need to be still. We need to learn to allow time to be quiet. That's part of what Shabbat's for. And I have learned in the last few years, I have trained myself because as an introvert, I live right here. It's a very busy place. And I have had to train myself. I go outside on Shabbat and I sit there and I don't think. I just listen to the birds. I'm trying to train myself, and I might not be able to do it for very long, but I'm trying to teach myself to exist and just listen and just be. That's an important thing that we need to do. We need to give ourselves white space. We need to give ourselves time to just be. Because personally, if I don't do that, I'm not doing anything else well because I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I'm worried, I am not who I need to be. We need to just be. When I was writing my notes, I'm like, that's Mary time, and that's a good way, I think, for us to remember. We need to have Mary time. Martha time has to happen, but we need to just exist and be quiet, because a lot of times that's when our Father's going to speak to us, isn't it? We don't hear him if we're constantly, we have to just, and then we can hear him, okay? Elizabeth Elliot, I found this quote by accident as I was preparing this, and I went, oh my goodness, this is perfect. Elizabeth Elliot said, rest is a weapon given to us by God. The enemy hates it because he wants us to be stressed and occupied. So we need to rest. We need to chill. We need to be calm. And sometimes I can feel it like just, I'm done. I need to go be away. I need to be quiet. And it doesn't even have to be long, but we need to do that for us because we are in charge of everybody else. We're not very good at taking care of us, are we? I'm not. I am horrible at taking care of me. My children feed me lunch or I wouldn't eat. But we have to take care of us. We have to do it. And this is a good way to do it, is to just learn to be quiet. Okay, there's one other tip I want to give you before I allow you to have a few questions, okay? And that is, I didn't even hardly touch Proverbs 31. That's what I want to go to now. How many of you back in your church days would go to church on Mother's Day and the preacher would talk all about Proverbs 31 and all it really did was make you feel like a super lousy person? Yes. Because you're like, I'm not like doing any of those things. I want you to look at Proverbs 31 completely upside down. These are not requirements to be a good wife and mother and a virtuous woman. They are not. They are opportunities. Okay? And I said this next part to my mother. She's like, go girl. In however many thousands of years of history, the women have been stomped on, silenced, trodden, set aside. But the Bible doesn't see it that way. The Bible says women are amazing. They are gifted. They are unique. They are well-equipped to do a whole lot of cool stuff. Okay? That's who we are. We don't have to feel like I am just in this little box. I'm a woman. No, there's a lot of opportunity available to us. So when you look at Proverbs 31, look at it as a list of possibilities, not requirements, okay? Not requirements. So if you look at some of them, she seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. I saw someone knitting today. I love knitting. I love crochet. We can create beautiful things. That's an opportunity, okay? But what I want to point out before I get too far into this, because my mind is kind of, all of these things require planning, though, to make it happen. That's my point. We have to actually intentionally work to make things happen, okay? Okay, so we can create beautiful things. I really enjoy making beautiful things for you all to use. It's just, I see it on the screen, and then I print it off, and I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. I just want to, like, turn it and go, oh, I love to make beautiful things. It's something we're good at. So that's an opportunity for us. She is like ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar. How many of you love to cook, bake, can? How many of you, not so much, but it's okay. You're getting there. It's an opportunity. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands, she plants a vineyard. We can do big farm projects by ourselves. My husband has learned, do not get in her way. She can handle the feedback by herself just fine. I can pick up the 50-pound bag, and I'm very happy about that. I like to feel like I can do stuff. So I actually have, fixed the car. I can do fencing. And it feels good to know that I can do stuff. It's an opportunity that we have to be able to do farm jobs, if that's your thing. It's not a requirement. It's an opportunity. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. We can have businesses. We can sell things. That's an opportunity. But I'm going to tell you right now, it takes planning. It takes a lot of planning. But it can happen. You can do it. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household are clothed in scarlet. We can take really, really good care of our families. We can get them the clothes that they need. My mom actually sewed all our clothes. I'm really, really long, so all the clothes from the store looked like Empire waist dresses. She made all of our wedding dresses. I don't do any of that. I shop at thrift stores. But the point is, we can provide those things for our family, and we're the best suited to do it. And we can do a good job at it, whether it's I put together this cool outfit from St. Vincent or I sewed my daughter's wedding dress. It doesn't matter. We can do those amazing things. She makes linen garments and sells them. She delivers sashes to the merchants. She opens her hand to the poor, reaches out her hand to the needy. Opportunities. We may not be in the right season for some of them. They may not be suited to us as in our personalities. They're not requirements, though. We don't have to check them off. It's opportunities because we're women and we're amazing, right? Yes, but we got a plan. We got a plan. Okay, many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. So I just want to leave you with, we can do amazing things. We are well equipped by our Creator to do amazing things. A planner is a tool to help you do those amazing things. And if you are using one, I hope that I've given you some ways that you can use it even better to get things done. And if you haven't tried using a planner, I encourage you even to start with a notebook and start just getting it out of your head and getting it down on paper. I literally started with a notebook. This was not where I started. I grew to that. So just start by getting in the habit of writing it down.